up your hearts, young men, let nothing fright you. Be of a gallant mind, let that delight you. Let not your courage fail till after trial, nor let your fancy move at the first denial. One day a gallant youth did cross the ocean to free America from her invasion. He landed at Quebec with all his party, the city to attack, both brave and hearty. Brave Wolfe drew up his men in foremost pretty on the plains of Abraham before the city. There just before the town the French did meet them. With double numbers they resolved to beat them. Each man then took his post at their retire. So then these numerous hosts began to fire. The cannon on each side did roar like thunder, and youths in all their pride were torn asunder. The drums did loudly beat, colors were flying, the purple gore did stream, and the men lay dying. When shot from off his horse fell this brave hero, and we lament his loss in weeds of sorrow. Began to break, their ranks were flying. Brave Wolfe then seemed to wake as he lay dying. He lifted up his head while the guns did rattle, and to his army said, "How goes the battle?" His aide-de-camp replied, "'Tis in our favor. Quebec with all her pride, we soon shall have her. She'll fall into our hands with all her treasure." "Oh, then," replied brave Wolfe, "I die with pleasure."
Los Angeles is the most magical city in the entire world. Win or lose, I am so proud to be an Angelino, and I'm so grateful to call this extraordinary city my home.
Oh, it's the tears of unfathomable sadness.
I used to love Los Angeles when I was in college.
Los Angeles is the most magical city in the
Communist tears. You know, we have a mug that says liberal tears. We need to make a mug that
Yes.
says communist tears.
Ah, there you go.
Good morning. Rise and freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. It's Friday morning. Los Angeles still doesn't know who's going to face Karen Bass in November. Polls closed 3 days ago. 66% of the vote is in. And Spencer Pratt is sitting in second place with 29%, ahead of the DSA-backed socialist Nithya Raman by 7 points. 300,000 ballots still have to count. California law lets mail-in ballots arrive up to 7 days after Election Day and still count. Late ballots, of course, Stephanie, in the state, they break left. They always do. This is the system working exactly as designed, and we're going to talk about it because nobody in the mainstream media seems to think this is worth a conversation. Welcome to Wake Up America. I'm Austin Peterson, joined as always by my smoking hot, beautiful, redheaded libertarian wifey, Steffi.
Oh, good morning.
Hi, Steffi.
Hi. Yeah, I thought Spencer Pratt won.
The Democrats, they count votes until they get the results they want.
Ah,
We've got a packed Friday show for you because beyond the ballot counting that never ends, a YouTuber with 4 million subscribers announced this week he terminated his pregnancy after a Down syndrome diagnosis, and it's opened up one of these questions that is just tearing people apart. When 67% of American parents make the same choice, 98% of Danish parents make this, by the way.
they make this choice to abort a Down syndrome
Yep.
baby?
Iceland,
What?
Iceland has nearly eliminated Down syndrome entirely.
Oh my gosh.
Not by curing it, but by eliminating the people who have it. So,
Eugenics.
yeah, there's a word for that. Yeah, we have a Western Michigan professor. Also, we have a story who wants to infect you with ticks to make you vegan. Serious? Yeah, alpha gal. Sharon Stone had a double mastectomy and is accusing her husband of wanting to leave her because she got her boobies removed. So we've got a lot going on this morning. So can you
bless me with something?
Oh gosh.
Oh gosh. Money wise.
I made
Can you suck it?
What?
I remade our K-Cup packaging for our coffee. So if you go to forlibertyshop.com today, type in K-Cup, and you will see our beautiful new packages.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Mason's Morning Brew.
Oh yeah, we've been upgrading the Founding Flavors package collection just to kind of like make everything more uniform and fit together nicely. So make sure that you're visiting forlibertyshop.com. That's the number 4libertyshop.com, and grab yourself a box of Founding Flavors. Look, Gannon is over there in the gift shop this morning, and he's already got himself the Liberty 250 shirt.
He got the embroidered one, the polo.
Did he?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that. Okay, well, yeah. So, and he had won the Great Grift Off, I think, last week. So he was able to use his gift card. So he got it for like $20. So congrats, Gannon.
I know.
Nice.
He's using his cards wisely.
There you go. If you guys want to support the Wake Up America show and help us to unlock our bonus content for today, make sure that you head on over to forlibertyshop.com, or purchases that you make at the shop during live, purchases that you make to the live show, and then also Rumble rants as well count. So people like Byron Norris.
Subscriptions, if you like subscribe.
Yes,
right?
we appreciate that.
Well, no, I guess we don't count.
Subs
We
count.
don't count those towards the bonus content.
we do.
Oh, we do. Okay.
Oh, we totally do. Yeah, absolutely. So if you guys gift subs and things like that, is that what you're talking about? Yeah.
Oh, you do. Yeah.
Yeah, those all count. So yeah, every like donation, every contribution, every purchase that's made during the live show helps to unlock the bonus content and support the show. So we appreciate it. And it's Friday, thank God. Don't you just love it? I'm so thankful that we're here.
It felt like a very long week, but not in a bad way. Just in a
just kind of dragged. So,
Yeah.
so anyways, let's get the show on the road this morning. Stephanie, polls closed in Los Angeles on Tuesday night. It's now Thursday night. And the Spencer Pratt, with the Republican candidate who is running out there, leads Nithya Raman for the second runoff spot. They've still got 322,000 ballots that remain. So California law allows mail-in ballots to arrive up to 7 days after Election Day and still count. Yes. So, and
Don't they have to be put in the mailbox on election day, or you can put it in the mailbox after election day, 7 days later?
Late mail-in ballots, they break left pretty heavily. So they
yeah.
always
I mean, do you know any Republicans that are like always late for things? Not really.
So California sends a mail-in ballot to every Good point, Stephanie. The Republicans like to get things done on time. Yeah.
They're typically more productive individuals.
I would think so, right? California sends a mail-in ballot to every registered voter, and they allow those ballots to still count, to arrive up to 7 days after Election Day and still count as long as they were postmarked by Election Day. So,
so yeah, you do have to have it in your mailbox, in the mailbox by Election Day.
Exactly.
Yes. Okay, and it's the same here too.
but does it, so is what, here in Missouri?
Yeah, I think pretty much everywhere. As long as you have it in the mailbox, like on that day, I think it counts.
We'll have to look that up. Okay.
Or maybe you have to bring it to the post office on that day. I'm not sure.
So the law is in California that county officials have 13 days to finish counting. Yeah, look that up. That's interesting. So the result is that election night results in California are just functionally a placeholder. So we may have, I don't know, we may have celebrated a little bit early, perhaps.
Oh, no.
I'm not sure. So
That's
the
not
final
good.
outcome is decided in the days and weeks after the polls close. So, and this late ballot pattern always consistently favors the left. This is not my opinion.
Sure.
This is what we researched. Neethi Raman herself trailed on election night when she first won her city council seat in 2020, but she won as the late ballots came in. So the structural advantage is documented, it's repeatable, and in California, this is entirely legal, plus it's entirely one directional. Keep in mind, that is not my opinion about this. This is the stone cold, double, triple verified facts. It is entirely legal for this to happen in Missouri, or excuse me, in California. In Missouri, I'm on mine. So Neethi Raman, she's a former Democratic Socialist of America-backed councilwoman. She entered this race hours before the filing deadline, and she challenged Karen Bass from the left.
Wait, this woman entered the race before it?
Barely
I see.
before the deadline. She just by the hair of her
She
chinny
was just
chin
out
chin.
loving Los Angeles so much, out on, on the streets, enjoying
Yes.
her shopping.
Yes. Spencer Pratt is a Republican and Palisades fire victim who built his campaign on accountability for the disaster response. So these are the two people who are fighting it out for second place right now. The Supreme Court is actually currently weighing a Republican National Committee case that would require mail-in ballots to be physically received by Election Day.
Yeah. Like
not merely postmarked. Yeah.
Right. Here. Stupid Google. I like to use Google Gemini, but sometimes when I ask it questions, it just gives me links to read more. And I'm like, no. Tell me. Tell me.
If you need something fast, my recommendation is on the AI front that you use Grok.
Yeah, I'm here in Grok. Okay. It's generally not reliable or recommended to put your absentee mail ballot in a mailbox on Election Day in Missouri. Your completed ballot must be received by your local election authority by 7 p.m. on Election Day. There is no postmark rule. It's based on when the office physically receives it. Okay, so I guess you have to put it in the mailbox before it has to actually get there by Election Day. Okay.
So the SCOTUS is hearing this case right now that the RNC has brought that they're demanding that mail-in ballots be physically received by Election Day. So
which is the rule we have here in Missouri. That's what we just
not merely
verified.
Postmarked. So there's a separate California bill that's SB 406. It would do the same thing at the state level in California. But both efforts, of course, are being fought by Democrats who argue that the 7-day grace period is necessary for voter access, because, of course, it is. Now, Karen Bass was projected to advance on election night, and she's going to face whoever finishes second in November. The last time that a sitting LA mayor was denied a second term was 2005, and Bass oversaw the city during the 2025 Palisades fire. This is one of the most destructive fires in California history, and she was widely criticized for her response, but she's still the front runner to win in November. So.
Right. You know, and the thing I learned is that the internet does not give you an accurate picture of who's winning. I'm sorry to say that. Because Spencer Pratt, he has the best marketing game on social media. You know, he's got all these great videos, Twitter posts.
Well, that's why he got. That's why, in theory, by some definitions, that's why he was in second place.
Right.
But you have to understand, and I don't want to blackpill because I think it's important to have hope. But all of those Nithya Raman voters, assuming that she loses, where do you think they're going to go? Do you think they're going to vote for Spencer Pratt?
No. They're going to vote for the other lady because I think she and Karen Bass are pretty similar.
Pretty much.
They both feel the same way about illegal immigrants. I know that for sure.
Yeah. Now, I did hear some anecdotal reports from people that I know in LA that were posting about what's happening there over the last couple of weeks. Apparently, some garbage has finally started to get cleaned up on some of their streets. Some of the potholes have started to get filled, which is curious because this kind of stuff doesn't happen. But suddenly, in the last couple of weeks, all of a sudden, construction zones have started to get set up. Things are starting to get built. What do you think's going on? Why do you think that LA is all of a sudden is starting to do things? Would you guess if you had to take a wild
they're trying
guess?
to distract the voters and make them think things aren't as bad as they are. So then when Spencer Pratt is like, look at all this garbage, look at all these homeless people, Karen Bass will be like, there's no garbage or homeless people. What are you talking about? She's going to gaslight him.
Yeah. Well, exactly. So now that Karen Bass is facing re-election and she's got a serious challenger, now all of a sudden in LA, people are starting to put together, the government is starting to do things to take care of the problems that they're facing. So they'll probably do that. So assuming that Spencer Pratt actually makes it into the runoff and is challenging Karen Bass this fall, you can expect for the next 6 months until November or whatever it is, you can expect that things are going to improve in LA. And then as soon as the election is over, if Karen Bass wins, God bless her, hope she doesn't, then all of a sudden things are going to stop all over again. They'll just stop taking care of things. Oh, and the reservoir that was empty, that was one of the big pain points for the Palisades fire, that reservoir that they have above the Palisades is still empty.
Oh.
So they haven't refilled that reservoir, even though
that's supposed to help to keep the fire away.
Yeah.
So they just start spraying stuff.
Yeah. So they have enough water in the area.
Interesting.
So, yeah. Rare Camellia says maybe Prime Minister of China Xi is coming there again. Yeah. Did you hear about this, Stephanie? That's a good point, Camellia.
Is he the guy that's having babies in California with women? We talked something about that.
Prime Minister of China Xi. Xi
the rich
Jinping.
people in China.
Yeah. No, I don't think it's not him.
Okay. Well, what does he do?
Release the feds, says JJ4884. They're donating like crazy, guys. Thank you so much.
What does this guy do in China?
What is Xi Jinping doing? Well, he's the head of the Communist Party of China. So when he came to visit, and I don't know if I don't think it was LA. It may have been San Francisco. Maybe both. But when he came to town, the city got cleaned up fast. It was overnight. So homeless people gone. The open air drug market's gone. Everything was gone. They cleaned up that city, which just goes to show that they're capable of keeping the cities clean. They just don't. But here's the thing. They did this for the Prime Minister of China, for the head of the Communist Party of China. I mean, he
probably helped them figure out how to get rid of these things.
Right. They probably needed him to come in and show them how to do communism right.
Well, in China, I was in China in 2005, and they kept the poor people in these, behind these walls in the city. That's all I remember. I was a teenager, but I just remember there were ghettos, but there were just these big walls and you couldn't see anybody behind them. So I think that's how they hide their homeless people.
That's what Xi said.
Yeah. That's what you said.
That's what Quest Fanning said. I stole his joke. Thanks for the joke there.
Yeah, I remember when we were in the taxi in China, we asked the driver, are you allowed to say the word freedom? We were asking all the weird American questions.
What, to Chinese?
Yeah, we were like, Will you get in trouble if you say freedom?
That sounds about like the kind of thing that she'd ask.
I
Stephanie. Get in trouble if you say she.
Nobody got shot that day.
Now, if you had said, "Do you guys remember the Tank Man at Tiananmen Square?" Then you would have been in big trouble, Stephanie. Then he would, that conversation would not have been allowed in China.
Oh boy.
Yeah, quite frankly, China and Russia, those are two countries that. Even if there are places there that I would want to see, I would never go there because I just think that, despite the fact that I'm a D-list on the political spectrum, celebrity scale, I still think I've said enough stuff that the Chinese government would just run an AI search on everything I've ever said about China and Russia, and I would be detained.
Oh my goodness.
I should probably stay away from those countries. Because they'll kill you. They will detain you. They will kill you. It's like that Otto Warmbier guy from North Korea. Remember him? He went and he stole that the party sign in North Korea, and then they tortured him, and he died. Otto Warmbier of North Korea. Donald Trump, don't trust China. China asshole. Don't trust Donald Trump.
And their food's not even that good. It's not like a Chinese buffet in China, so There's no almond boneless chicken, no sweet and sour chicken in China. It's all hot pot.
Yeah,
and duck.
So if the ballots in Los Angeles have to be postmarked by election day to be valid, what's the argument against that they shouldn't have to arrive by election day? So what is the argument for a 7-day grace period if that doesn't also apply to every other legal deadline in American life? Why do you think that they're doing this, Stephanie? Why do you think they have this policy?
Well, technically speaking, if you put your ballot in the mailbox on election day during normal voting hours, you technically don't know the outcome of the vote yet. It's not like you could be like, oh my gosh, let's go vote for this person because, this other person is leading right now, right? Like you can't really like mess with the votes in that way that I'm aware of because the votes haven't come in yet. So, but we know that people who procrastinate tend to not be the best people in society. They tend to be the impoverished individuals, the individuals who are minorities, right? If you want to stereotype.
I love my racist wife. You guys need to get you one of them. You need to get you a racist, libertarian,
I'm trying to speak
redheaded
sensitively
wife.
about this subject.
I love it whenever.
It also probably is helping the libertarians because I hate to say it, guys, but a lot of libertarians wake and bake and they're like, oh my God, it's voting day, and it's like 7 p.m. They're like, crap. And then they just like, head to the post office. So libertarians too. Like, I guess this voting policy is for libertarians.
Damn, this went off the rails really fast.
Sorry.
Tell you what, man, if you could get yourself a redheaded libertarian racist wifey, you'll have the best life, guys. Let me tell you.
So it's helping communists and libertarians. There you go.
So late mail-in ballots, obviously, they break consistently and heavily left. That pattern is documented and it's repeatable. And every election that you see, it favors the left. At what point does this structural electoral advantage that only benefits one party become a policy problem rather than a coincidence? At what point are we going to address this? Now, they're trying to address this on the national level with the SAVE Act. A law will never get passed in California. Frankly, I think that the president should send in the military to secure the vote in California.
I wonder if they have special like little mail trucks that go around to the impoverished neighborhoods and they say, here, give us your mail-in ballots. We're going to drive them to the post office for you. I wonder if they do that. Because a lot of these people can't get to the post office, because they're like disabled, whatever, they're dead, and so it's like, I bet there's like campaign workers that go to the post office for these people and put their ballot in the mailbox.
Oh yeah. Isn't that the definition of ballot harvesting? Isn't that what they call that?
Oh, I don't know.
Ballot harvesting is that
sure.
they have people go around to like the senior citizens' homes and like certain neighborhoods and collect ballots.
It's not illegal to take somebody else's ballot to the post office. I don't think it is. How would anybody know? Do they test the DNA, the fingerprints on the envelope? I don't think so.
This is a clip from Benny Johnson. This is the reservoir above the Palisades fire. That
that's a pretty shot.
yeah, look at that. So that's the reservoir, and that's like present day. That's after the Palisades fire right there. Still haven't filled that thing up.
Well, they're in a drought, I'm sure.
Oh, we're getting a little Mozart here. Lacrimosa.
Benny Johnson knows how to be very hyperbolic about everything.
Oh, I know. That's how you get big in this business. You gotta
I
you
know.
gotta blow everything up like it's the biggest thing in the world. But I mean, this is a big deal. This is the
Yes.
whole reason
Yeah,
why
fires are a big part of California.
But look
And
at
it's
that.
like, come on, guys, you
They
can maybe do something about this.
They still have not fixed this problem. Fill it up, guys.
How do you fill it up? What do they fill it up with? What water source?
Listen, I don't know shit. I'm just talking
here,
out of my
let me
ass
look
on
it up.
this.
Maybe they take ocean water.
Here's my guess.
Look, Heidi would. I
was
just
gonna-
saw the
I was
Heidi
gonna
would.
say- well, here's what I was going to say. Literally, the ocean's right there.
How?
Just fill it up with seawater will work, right?
Here.
Is there some reason to think that you couldn't just
Let's see.
take water from the ocean and it works the same, right? This isn't like a grease fire situation, right? And salt water would make it worse. Somebody fill me in on the science on this one, okay? I have no idea.
Let's see. Apparently, there's a Palisades Dam and Reservoir in Idaho. Santa Ynez Reservoir, Pacific Palisades. Water is pumped through the city's trunk line infrastructure stored in the reservoir. The facility has experienced ongoing issues with tears and necessary upgrades to its protective floating covers.
Ask it
But,
why Los Angeles doesn't just pump in seawater to these reservoirs. Look it up.
Because this is a drinking water reservoir, so I don't know if this is really used for houses. Here,
I won't
this
stop
is the
talking
reservoir.
about this Palisades Reservoir getting filled back up until it's filled back up.
Let's see.
Everyone always talks about the Santa Ynez Reservoir that
Yes.
LADWP, Janice Quinones,
That one.
also had empty on January 7th, the day of the fires. But this one right here next door to my house that they drained 6 million gallons in June of 2024, they now have no plans, LADWP, Janice Quinones, to
Okay.
fill it back up. They say it wouldn't make a difference if there was another wildfire. Well, I promise you, if there had been 6 million gallons on January 7th, I'd still have a house. So maybe it doesn't save the 7,000 structures that your two empty reservoirs help lead to burning, but it sure is going to stop a lot of houses from burning down. So the LADWP and Janice Quinones need to stop playing their little game lies and fix the Palisades Reservoir and put the water back in it. We're done with your lies.
Nice.
Okay,
That's
so
what
the
kind of-
Santa Ynez Reservoir is a 117 million gallon municipal infrastructure facility. It does not fill via natural rivers or rainwater. It operates through a heavily engineered pipeline system. The main feed water is pumped up through a 30 to 36 inch municipal trunk line that originates at the Los Angeles Aqueduct Filtration Plant. So let's see. Yeah, so it like travels through Sunset Boulevard, the water. Let's see. Yeah, so their reservoir was completely dry in the 2025 fire.
You know who could use some water? LA. 9 months after 16,000 homes burnt to a crisp, the reservoirs are still drier than the Sahara.
The reservoir's empty right now. I was literally just up on the hill, and we're just flying the drone over the reservoir, and it's bone dry.
Here's the best part. You can go up my street. This is the reservoir that they
So I
also
guess-
drained when they were fixing the other one. They said, let's drain this one. So there's actually two reservoirs that were drained, the Palisades Reservoir and the Santa Ynez.
2 reservoirs, both empty, during peak fire season. Why? Well, the city drained them to use for drinking water, not for fighting fires.
Right.
Now, the repairs cost $20 million, and Bass doesn't have the cash.
I don't have
Yeah, it's for
They don't have
drinking
the
water.
cash.
It's really for
That is
drinking water.
insane.
And in order for it to be used for drinking water, it has to have a massive airtight protective floating cover to prevent bacteria, animal droppings, and other things from getting in. So in 2024, there were large tears in that cover. And so to fix or replace the cover, they had to drain the reservoir.
Interesting.
But that was in 2024. So they need to fix that.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, they've got. It's not that they don't have the money. It's just that they don't have the political will.
Should tax dollars go towards something like that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
That is absolutely what our tax dollars should be going for fire prevention and for those kinds of utilities and things like that. Yeah. I mean, Would it be great if we lived in Anarcho-Capistan? Probably not, knowing what I know about anarchists.
I mean,
I'd rather live in the world we live in now than the world that the anarchists that I've read have before us.
I remember there was some Shark Tank invention that came out to help houses that go on fire in California.
Mm-hmm.
I would imagine that the rich people that are living here in the hills, they could probably afford to invent something for themselves privately.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
But they absolutely could, but they won't let you do that. There was no way.
Yeah.
If a billionaire,
probably regulations.
Exactly. Was the reason why like Elon Musk and a lot of these guys, they left California, Jeff Bezos and all these corporations left California because they can't build anything. There's a story that's going around right now about a guy who he built his dream home in Malibu on the beach, and now he's getting fined like $2 million, and they're threatening to fine him like $100,000 a day if he doesn't make it so that that anyone can just come and use the beach access where he had bought his home and set it up specifically so that he would have private access to the beach, because in California, being able to deny other people access to your own private property is illegal.
Hi, I'm Morgan. I'm a mom and a realtor, and I lost my home in 15 years in the Palisades fire, and I'm back here at our reservoir, still empty, almost a year and a half after the fire. I have survived a plane crash, the Palisades fire. I was in Qatar during October 7th, and I lived in New York during 9/11. I was supposed to fly that day. Frankly, I've had enough. Like, no more chaos, please.
Why is she going to Qatar? First of all,
why was she?
What are you doing in Qatar?
Why was she supposed to fly on 9/11? Why is it that every major terror attack, this lady is somehow there? That's suspicious.
She has quite a nose job there.
Yeah.
Lies of omission when she says this.
A million years ago, it was for wildfires, but over the last 30, 40 years, it's been for drinking water.
Yeah.
Yes, let me explain to you. All municipal systems have two kinds of water, potable and non-potable. Potable water is, in addition to drinking water, used in all of our systems. Irrigation, fire hydrants, you name it.
Oh, she's doing that.
It simply means that the water
she's doing the claw thing.
The woman's splaining.
Yeah,
thing.
the woman splaining with the claws. You know what I'm talking about? The pecking. She's pecking at us. Don't do that, lady. Don't peck at me. Looks like we unlocked the bonus content. Thank you, guys. Wow. All right.
Everyone's quite motivated today. What's going on?
I don't know. You know why? Because you were being racist earlier, and people think it's funny.
I'm just saying how it is, based on statistical analysis.
You're like Jeremy Kaufman.
Oh, no, don't compare me to him, please.
Racist Jewish woman.
I would not get in a fight with someone in the parking lot.
She said potable water weird. Potable water.
I want her to say potable. Isn't it potable?
Potable.
Is it potable?
It's definitely potable.
I think it's potable. Potable. Here in LA, we say potable.
I think potable is probably correct, but I don't care.
No, it's potable.
It's potable now.
Because you put water in a pot to distill it, right? Yeah.
Exactly. Potable. All right, guys, you've unlocked the bonus content. Let's give you guys what you love. Enjoy the mini.
Winter of 1747, somewhere in Massachusetts, a boy was born into bondage who would one day stand on a hilltop in Charlestown and change the course of American history. His name was Salem Poor. He grew up enslaved on a farm in Andover, Massachusetts. But Salem was no ordinary man. Strong, intelligent, and fiercely determined, he worked, saved what little he could, and in 1769, at the age of 22, he bought his own freedom. He paid for it with his own hands and sweat. Now, a free black man in a land still ruled by British tyranny, Salem Poor chose to stand with the Patriots when the shooting started in 1775. By June, the British had occupied Boston. The American militia had them surrounded. On the night of June 16th, Salem Poor and hundreds of other men quietly climbed Breed's Hill in Charlestown under cover of darkness. They dug frantically through the night, building a crude earthen redoubt while British warships watched from the harbor. Dawn broke on June 17, 1775. The British were coming, 2,200 elite redcoats in perfect formation, bayonets gleaming in the morning sun. 3 times they marched up that steep, bloody hill. 3 times the Americans held their fire until the last possible moment. Salem Poor was in the thick of it. As the third and final British assault crashed forward, the air filled with smoke and the roar of muskets. British officers in bright scarlet uniforms shouted orders, waving their swords. Salem Poor crouched behind the hastily built wall, his long musket steady. He waited, he aimed, and when the moment came, he fired. One shot rang out from Salem's rifle. A British Lieutenant Colonel, James Abercrombie, second in command of the British forces, staggered and fell dead on the slope. Salem Poor had just dropped one of the highest-ranking officers on the field. All around him the battle raged. Men screamed, cannonballs tore through the air. The British finally overran the hill, but not before suffering over 1,000 casualties, nearly half their attacking force. The Americans had been driven back, but they had proven they could stand against the best troops in the world. 14 American officers, some of them slave owners, were so impressed by what they saw that they signed a remarkable petition. It read in part, "We beg leave to recommend to your favorable notice Salem Poor, who behaved like an experienced officer as well as an excellent soldier. In the person of this Negro centers a brave and gallant soldier." This was almost unheard of. White officers publicly praising the extraordinary bravery of a black soldier in 1775. Salem Poor's courage at Bunker Hill was officially recognized. But he wasn't done. Salem continued fighting for the rest of the war. He served at the Siege of Boston, fought at White Plains, Saratoga, and endured the brutal winter at Valley Forge. He stood in the lines at Monmouth in the scorching heat. He was with the army that trapped Cornwallis at Yorktown in 1781, watching the final British surrender that secured American independence. Through 8 long years of war, Salem Poor carried a musket for a country that still did not fully recognize him as equal. He fought not just for freedom from Britain, but for the hope that someday his people might share in that freedom. After the war, life was hard. Like many black veterans, Salem struggled for recognition and fair treatment. He married twice, had children, and lived out his final years in poverty. He died around 1802, his exact grave now lost to history. Yet his legacy endures. Salem Poor was not a general, he was not a famous statesman. He was a former slave who bought his own freedom and then risked that hard-won freedom on the bloody slopes of Breed's Hill. When the redcoats charged with bayonets fixed and victory seemed certain, Salem Poor stood tall, took careful aim, and helped turn the British assault into a slaughter. He proved on that hot June day in 1775 that courage has no color and that liberty is worth fighting for, even when the nation you fight for has not yet fully extended that liberty to you. From the smoke-filled heights of Bunker Hill to the final triumph at Yorktown, Salem Poor fought with honor, skill, and unbreakable resolve. His story reminds us that the American Revolution was carried forward not only by famous names, but by ordinary men of extraordinary courage. Salem Poor, the hero of Bunker Hill, and one of the first true patriots to shed blood for American independence.
Hark! I've discovered a brew so bold, 'twill ignite the spirit of liberty. This is not merely coffee, 'tis the very essence of American boldness. Give me coffee, or give me death. Go to For Liberty Shop to procure yours now.
"'Tis the year of our Lord, 1801. President Trump Jefferson casts his gaze o'er the sovereign Potomac and beholds a most wretched spectacle upon the waters. From the cursed shores of Tripoli and the welfare coffers of distant Minnesota comes the brazen Captain Ilhan Omar, commanding her fleet of Barbary pirates. She demands her ransom, billions in reparations. Yet one instrument of fortitude suffices, a steaming chalice of Jeffersonian Java, bold and unapologetic from For Liberty Shop. No more tribute to rogues, he thunders, and dispatches the Navy and Marines to smash Omar's fleet asunder. Trump Jefferson stands triumphant as Omar's plunder meets the end it deserved back in Minnesota. Jeffersonian Java, the coffee that gives true Americans the courage to refuse tribute and rebuke fraud. Procure yours at forlibertyshop.com and make America caffeinated again.
In a city where businesses never sleep, the technology still crashes. When technology turns criminal, they send up the signal. He's not a myth, and he's definitely not your nephew who knows computers. He installs, he protects, he backs it up, he keeps your business online and out of trouble. Managed IT, security, cloud, support that actually answers the phone. Layer 8 tech. When your network breaks, he wakes. Call Drew before your tech needs a rescue signal.
George Washington spent 8 years making sure nobody knew where he was. Troop movements, secret dispatches. The man was a ghost. So when a barista leaned out a window and asked for his exact location in exchange for points they called stars, he looked at his flag and said, "I've already got my stars. 13 of them." Keep your dignity and your location intact. Grab a box of Washington's Revolutionary Roast at forlibertyshop.com.
Not the result we wanted to see, guys. I started to get kind of a not good feeling just when the results were sitting here. That's why I didn't want to open them. I started to feel really uncomfortable about it. Just kind of in shock, like, truly. We talked before this, guys, about what would we do if we confronted this scenario. Because this was the more likely scenario. We talked about terminating the pregnancy. Obviously things could change because this is traumatic, like very traumatic. And I know you guys even watching this, this is traumatic for the whole community. I think now that we have a definitive result, we'll talk with these counselors and we're gonna have some hard conversations. It's just all very overwhelming and confusing to navigate. Ashley is almost halfway through this thing. Not saying we forced it, but like the kid seemed healthy and there's been stories of where the kid comes out and is like super functional, and so it's like, I don't know. There's just a lot to digest and we're not really gonna be doing that in this video. We just wanted to let you guys in on what the results were.
Oh, I was ready. I was ready. I gotta start all over again. The start of our journey, you know, of just trying to start a family. This is how it starts.
A lot of people, it's not easy ever, you know, whether it's a miscarriage out the gate. You know, it's hard to look at like silver linings, but I mean, the fact that you can get pregnant is good. We weren't sure, and it was instant. We don't know why this happens. Maybe it is a birth control over a decade. Maybe it is just
It's all the drug use that you guys have.
Yeah, rampant drug use, alcoholism. Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. It's Freedom Family Friday, which means that I'm here with my beautiful, smoking hot, redheaded, racist, libertarian wifey.
Can I just say first world problems? You know, back in the 80s and 90s, our parents didn't have the luxury to get a blood test at like 10 to 12 weeks pregnant that told them all of the different chromosomal issues that the baby could have. Our parents just dealt with whatever cards they got.
Everybody's going to have a lot to say about this, so before everybody just starts blasting us into one segue after another, let's just start with the facts. A YouTuber with 4 million subscribers, McJuggernuggets. I don't know.
I know, like, come on, with that name, like, who can really trust anything?
I don't know what kids like these days, but it's McJuggernuggets, I guess.
Oh,
a YouTuber,
geez.
he's got 4 million subscribers, announced he and his wife terminated their pregnancy after the baby tested positive for Down syndrome. The backlash was pretty fast. The post went viral. They say it's a difficult choice, but it was grateful they had a choice. But here's the question that he didn't ask. When 67% of Americans make the same choice, and 98% of Danish parents make it, and nearly 100% of Icelandic parents make it, at what point is an individual choice really just a collective policy? So here joining us now to discuss is pregnant person Stephanie Peterson. Stephanie, I'll let you take it away.
Who is opting out of genetic testing voluntarily. We actually just asked the doctor just the other week, what is the benefit to having genetic testing done if we don't agree with abortion? And she just said it's to be able to prepare for resources for, once you give birth to your child, if they do have something wrong. It's like, for me, this is a no-brainer. It's like they're acting like their child, it would have been born like not breathing. Down syndrome. Oh, are you taking a picture? Do I look beautiful?
It's I'm sending it to Cliff Maloney because his book is there behind you. Continue, Stephanie.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Stephanie, don't get distracted.
Oh, sorry. I thought it was a photo opportunity.
It is.
So to me, it's just a no-brainer. Here in Missouri, we can't get abortions anyway. So our hands are tied, naturally. I'm sure we could go across the border to, another state where you can get an abortion. But I really wonder if the abortion industry is in bed with the genetic testing industry. And if the abortion industry is really pushing genetic testing now so that more people feel the need to get abortions. I really feel there's something creepy around this genetic testing. And doctors sell it to you because they say, oh, find out the gender of your baby early. You don't have to wait till the anatomy scan at 20 weeks to see the hot dog or the hamburger. You can find out the sex of your baby in this genetic testing and also decide if you want to abort your baby at the same time. Wow, what a great deal. And your insurance might even pay for that.
Racist, redhead, libertarian, conspiratard wifery.
So that's my conspiracy theory brain here. Yes, it is good to have resources in line if your child does have a chromosomal disorder. The doctor said, even if there was something found, like a chromosomal issue, there's no intervention that can be done in the womb, to operate on the baby, fix the baby, nothing. I do know that I want to say with spinal bifida, I believe, if your baby does have that, they now can do interventions in the womb, whereas a long time ago they couldn't. So there's certain issues that, they obviously could help, but they'd see that on the ultrasound. So you don't need genetic testing for that. And maybe it's because I'm a social worker. Maybe it's because I used to be a camp counselor at a special needs camp. I've been around kids with Down syndrome my whole life, ever since I was in preschool. I remember I went into the special needs classroom and they would have us, interact with the kids with Down syndrome. And so it's been normal for me. I don't see anything wrong with kids having Down syndrome. They're actually very nice. They're usually very happy children. So I don't see an issue. Yes, these people are focusing on the medical problems that could come from having a kid with Down syndrome. Sure. That happens. If you had a little person, right? If you gave birth to a little person, they would have so many surgeries. If you gave birth to somebody with spina bifida, yes, they would have lots of surgeries. But I'm sure if you ask those people, are you happy to be alive? They would say yes. They can go on to live happy lives.
Okay.
So I don't.
Are you finished?
Oh, sure.
Okay, I just want to give you your platform there.
Sure. I'll have more to say, but yeah, you can come in and say how you feel. This is your baby too.
Well, here's the facts. Before I get into my opinion, here's the facts. So Down syndrome isn't what it was 40 years ago. The life expectancy has risen from 25 years old to about 60 years old. So in 40 years, we have extended the life expectancy of people with this to 60 years old. And many people with Down syndrome hold jobs. My dad, he volunteers to sit on the board of the Casco Area Workshop, which is a place where they have people with mental disabilities who can perform certain simple jobs like packing boxes and things. And some of them can live, semi-independently. Some of them have meaningful relationships. So the medical picture for people who suffer from Down syndrome has changed dramatically. So the cultural assumption that a Down syndrome diagnosis means that it's a life worth living that has not kept pace with reality. People believe that it is like this painful, short, brutish life. That is not the case anymore. And as a matter of fact, in the U.S., an estimated 67% of pregnancies with a Down syndrome diagnosis are terminated. But in France, it's 77%. In Denmark, 98%. In Iceland, they kill every single one of them. So Iceland now averages 2 to 3 Down syndrome births per year across an entire country. They haven't cured it. They've just eliminated the people who have it. This is interesting too from the cultural perspective here, because in 2016, France banned a television ad that featured happy adults with Down syndrome smiling at the camera. The government ruled that it couldn't air because it might disturb women who had terminated a Down syndrome pregnancy. The state wasn't trying to protect the feelings of people who had Down syndrome. It wanted to protect the feelings of people who chose to have them.
And I know we have some people in the audience who have children with special needs.
Yeah. Justice Clarence Thomas wrote in 2019 a Supreme Court concurrence that the history of abortion in America is deeply entangled with the eugenics movement, and it is. Margaret Sanger, who was the founder of Planned Parenthood, advocated explicitly for eliminating what she called unfit populations. So selective abortion based on genetic characteristics is not a departure from that history. That is the continuation of it with better technology. This has been going on for quite some time. Ohio passed a law banning abortions performed specifically because of a Down syndrome diagnosis, and the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals upheld that. But here's the argument. If it is illegal to discriminate against someone with Down syndrome in employment or housing after they are born, then the question of why it is celebrated before they are born is a legitimate one.
Right.
So,
that's discrimination.
Yeah. So here's a question. If a society systematically screens for and terminates pregnancies based on a specific genetic trait until that trait nearly disappears, what do you call that? Right? Eugenics. And it doesn't change whether or not it's done for what is perceived to be the collective good or not. It's BB Chip says, my 4-year-old daughter has T21 and she's the biggest blessing in my life. Oh,
absolutely. And I know parents or like these influencer people, they're talking about, the burden, how their kid will never be able to live an independent life, blah, blah, blah. Some people with Down syndrome do live an independent life. Some of them actually go on to get married and have children. So it's like it does happen. And sure, I mean, it does make your life harder. But when you have sex, I'm sorry, but that's the decision you're making. You're deciding to have a new responsibility in your life.
So here's where it intersects with our community. Libertarians are deeply divided on the question of abortion. We're not divided on the question of bodily autonomy. Bodily autonomy is something that if you say that at any libertarian conference, everybody would agree. Yes, we all agree you have bodily autonomy. But does that mean that extends to the bodily autonomy of the unborn child, or does that mean it's for the mother only, and she's the one who determines everything that happens within, her sphere of influence there? So,
right. I mean, if a mother has an abortion, I know it's hard to prove like who the father is. I don't think you can do a DNA test like in the womb. I don't know. I'd have to look that up. But it's like if the father is known, shouldn't the father have a say? Mm-hmm. Like, let's say the father wants to raise the Down syndrome child on his own. Mm-hmm. That's fine. Like, why not? Let him do it.
Now, the Down syndrome community, by the way, has been pretty vocal on this. Mm-hmm. They speak out against abortion for people with Down syndrome. Many of them have testified in congressional hearings. Yeah. They've made films. They've run campaigns and asked to be heard. So, the left likes to talk about marginalized communities, and this has got to be the most marginalized community in the entire human race. But it's interesting. The left doesn't really care about marginalized communities unless it benefits them or they're a voting constituency. And I don't know, Down syndrome, I mean, they may have, intellectual disabilities, but they don't seem dumb enough to vote for Democrats. They're not that down.
Oh. And sure, I mean, I get it. It's like you won't be able to enjoy your retirement fully, possibly. Maybe you do still have to have your child living with you at home. I mean, I know I have a family member, distant, and they had a child with special needs, and they ended up putting him in a group home, long term. And it's like some people decide that, but it's like, there are good group homes out there, that do provide loving care for people. And it's like, if that's the route you choose, I mean, resources are available in this day and age. Joel, it's not like back in the day, like in the, 1950s when you like put those people in insane asylums and stuff. Like they didn't really have resources back in the day. But now we have people who can help.
Joel Ledamore had sent me a video this morning. It was pretty funny. I think he sent it on Instagram, so I can't find it right now. Joel, if you're at Steelbringer, if you're listening, dude, can you like DM it to me again, or what's like the best way to do it? Can you DM it to me on X if you can, and I'll pull up the clip. Okay, sound good? It's 8 a.m. and a little bit of bad news, guys. Unfortunately, we don't have Justin Peterson on the show, so but he will be here with us tonight. So tonight we're going to do the Freedom Arcade at 8:30 p.m. Central Time. If you guys want to join us for a little bit of behind-the-scenes exclusive content, then Justin Peterson will be joining us for the Freedom Arcade tonight, where we gather together, we play games with our friends and our fans. It is exclusive to people who have the little red castle next to their names over in the chat. So if you can see it right now, I'm pulling up the chat screen. Take a look and see if you've got the little red castle next to your name, because if you do, then you guys have got the ability to watch and participate with the Freedom Arcade tonight. So if you want to join us, 8:30 p.m. Central. We won't have Justin this morning, which means we're not going to go behind a paywall for the rest of the hour this morning of the Wake Up America show. But we are going to take a quick little break here. And when we get back, we're going to continue this conversation. Hopefully, Joel will have sent me that video. And we've got a few more other topics as well. So don't go away, and we'll be right back. Before we do, a quick little live read from our sponsor, the Wake Up America show. We're truly grateful for our friends over at Expat Money. I was talking to a friend from Raytown the other day, and he and his wife were looking at options of escaping the United States if the entire country turns out like Los Angeles. Then some people want a plan B. And he was saying to himself that, no, I've planted my flag in the United States. I don't want to give up my residency or my passport and go live in a foreign country. But he does want to be able to have other options in case things go wrong. So he wants to have a second passport, and he wants to have bank accounts in another country. My friend Mikkel Thorup can help you set that up. He has got a free report that you can download. He calls it 8 Countries to Escape World War III, and it walks you through real options for building a sovereign plan B before borders close, markets panic, or some genius in NATO decides to play Risk with live ammo. So it's not about packing a bug-out bag or living in a cave with canned beans. It's about knowing where you could go, how residency works, what countries make sense, and knowledge is power. So we're glad to be sponsored by and grateful for our sponsor, expatmoney.com/World War III, and get the report. That's expatmoney.com/World War III. When we get back, lots more Wake Up America show on my free.
Somewhere in Massachusetts, a boy was born into bondage who would one day stand on a hilltop in Charlestown and change the course of American history. His name was Salem Poor. He grew up enslaved on a farm in Andover, Massachusetts. But Salem was no ordinary man. Strong, intelligent, and fiercely determined, he worked, saved what little he could, and in 1769, at the age of 22, he bought his own freedom. He paid for it with his own hands and sweat. Now, a free black man in a land still ruled by British tyranny, Salem Poor chose to stand with the Patriots when the shooting started in 1775. By June, the British had occupied Boston. The American militia had them surrounded. On the night of June 16th, Salem Poor and hundreds of other men quietly climbed Breed's Hill in Charlestown under cover of darkness. They dug frantically through the night, building a crude earthen redoubt while British warships watched from the harbor. Dawn broke on June 17th, 1775. The British were coming, 2,200 elite redcoats in perfect formation, bayonets gleaming in the morning sun. 3 times they marched up that steep, bloody hill. 3 times the Americans held their fire until the last possible moment. Salem Poor was in the thick of it. As the third and final British assault crashed forward, the the air filled with smoke and the roar of muskets. British officers in bright scarlet uniforms shouted orders, waving their swords. Salem Poor crouched behind the hastily built wall, his long musket steady. He waited, he aimed, and when the moment came, he fired. One shot rang out from Salem's rifle. A British lieutenant colonel, James Abercrombie, second in command of the British forces, staggered and fell dead on the slope. Salem Poor had just dropped one of the highest-ranking officers on the field. All around him the battle raged. Men screamed, cannonballs tore through the air. The British finally overran the hill, but not before suffering over 1,000 casualties, nearly half their attacking force. The Americans had been driven back, but they had proven they could stand against the best troops in the world. 14 American officers, some of them slave owners, were so impressed by what they saw that they signed a remarkable petition. It read in part, "We beg leave to recommend to your favorable notice Salem Poor, who behaved like an experienced officer as well as an excellent soldier. In the person of this Negro centers a brave and gallant soldier." This was almost unheard of. White officers publicly praising the extraordinary bravery of a black soldier in 1775. Salem Poor's courage at Bunker Hill was officially recognized. But he wasn't done. Salem continued fighting for the rest of the war. He served at the Siege of Boston, fought at White Plains, Saratoga, and endured the brutal winter at Valley Forge. He stood in the lines at Monmouth in the scorching heat. He was with the army that trapped Cornwallis at Yorktown in 1781, watching the final British surrender that secured American independence. Through 8 long years of war, Salem Poor carried a musket for a country that still did not fully recognize him as equal. He fought not just for freedom from Britain, but for the hope that someday his people might share in that freedom. After the war, life was hard. Like many black veterans, Salem struggled for recognition and fair treatment. He married twice, had children, and lived out his final years in poverty. He died around 1802, his exact grave now lost to history. Yet his legacy endures. Salem Poor was not a general, he was not a famous statesman. He was a former slave who bought his own freedom and then risked that hard-won freedom on the bloody slopes of Breed's Hill. When the redcoats charged with bayonets fixed and victory seemed certain, Salem Poor stood tall, took careful aim, and helped turn the British assault into a slaughter. He proved on that hot June day in 1775 that courage has no color and that liberty is worth fighting for, even when the nation you fight for has not yet fully extended that liberty to you. From the smoke-filled heights of Bunker Hill to the final triumph at Yorktown, Salem Poor fought with honor, skill, and unbreakable resolve. His story reminds us that the American Revolution was carried forward not only by famous names, but by ordinary men of extraordinary courage. Salem Poor, the hero of Bunker Hill, and one of the first true patriots to shed blood for American independence.
George Washington spent 8 years making sure nobody knew where he was. Troop movements, secret dispatches. The man was a ghost. So when a barista leaned out a window and asked for his exact location in exchange for points they called stars, he looked at his flag and said, "I've already got my stars. 13 of them. Keep your dignity and your location intact. Grab a box of Washington's Revolutionary Roast at forlibertyshop.com.
Hark! I've discovered a brew so bold, 'twill ignite the spirit of liberty. This is not merely coffee, 'tis the very essence of American boldness. Give me coffee, or give me death. Go to For Liberty Shop to procure yours now.
'Tis the year of our Lord, 1801. President Trump Jefferson casts his gaze o'er the sovereign Potomac and beholds a most wretched spectacle upon the waters. From the cursed shores of Tripoli and the welfare coffers of distant Minnesota comes the brazen Captain Ilhan Omar, commanding her fleet of Barbary pirates. She demands her ransom, billions in reparations. Yet one instrument of fortitude suffices, a steaming chalice of Jeffersonian Java, bold and unapologetic from For Liberty Shop. No more tribute to rogues, he thunders, and dispatches the Navy and Marines to smash Omar's fleet asunder. Trump Jefferson stands triumphant as Omar's plunder meets the end it deserved back in Minnesota. Jeffersonian Java, the coffee that gives true Americans the courage to refuse tribute and rebuke fraud. Procure yours at forlibertyshop.com and make America caffeinated again.
In a city where businesses never sleep, the technology still crashes. When technology turns criminal, they send up the signal. He's not a myth, and he's definitely not your nephew who knows computers. He installs, he protects, he backs it up. He keeps your business online and out of trouble. Managed IT, security, cloud, support that actually answers the phone. Layer 8 tech. When your network breaks, he wakes. Call Drew before your tech needs a rescue signal.
Danger.
Good stuff. Thank you to Joel Lattimore for sharing that one with us.
That's a cute video.
Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I agree with that. I believe that is true. Welcome to the Wake Up America Show. I'm Austin Peterson. Hope you guys are enjoying the bonus content. Looks like Decision Point said his favorite one ever. Glad to have you here, guys. Thank you so much for your financial generosity. It's people like you that keep us in business. The Wake Up America Show is over 3 years old. Podcasts don't normally make it past their 9th episode. But because you guys show up every day, you're always donating, you're always making purchases at the Grift Shop, we have very slowly been turning this single podcast into a full-blown empire of liberty. One that even Thomas Jefferson would be proud of. And it's because you go to the Grift Shop, you make donations, you donate $17.76 a month. We've been able to add employees. We've been able to add new bells and whistles. We can afford all the expensive AI that we use to make our show.
Yep.
It is super expensive, and without you guys, wouldn't be able to do this. We wouldn't be able to have all the fun that we have on this show without you guys. We literally would not be able to exist. And, you know, I know people probably look at the numbers and they think, oh my God, you don't have thousands of people watching your show. Like, how can you be making this work? Well, we're smart. We're fiscal conservatives. You know, we don't spend tons and tons of money. We don't go on like expensive vacations or things. You know, we make sure that we've got enough money for payroll taxes, that we can afford to pay our staff, and that we can afford to pay all of our bills and meet all of our needs. And we have this plan to grow this network just brick by brick by brick by brick. You know, the expectation is that in this business, you're going to go viral, and all of a sudden you're going to just get thousands or millions of views, and you'll blow up and you'll get worldwide famous. The truth is that it takes a long time to become an overnight success. So,
and even after a long time, it's not guaranteed.
It's not guaranteed. But
yeah.
one thing is for sure, though, is that there are ways to set yourself up so that you're not in a situation where you get into financial trouble with this. We have sort of set up ourselves a system whereby we can ensure that every single month we've got what we need to be able to accomplish things. So like, you know, when you watch those AI videos, like those things, you have to pay to create those things. It's actually pretty expensive. So for example, this little commercial that Colton made yesterday.
Hark! I've discovered a brew so bold, 'twill ignite the spirit of liberty. This is not merely coffee, 'tis the very essence of American boldness. Give me coffee, or give me death. Go to For Liberty Shop to procure yours now.
Yeah, Patrick Henry.
Yeah, that was $88 that yesterday we had to drop for that video.
So $88 we had to spend to buy the credits, and then a portion of those were of that $88.
But that really did come up yesterday. We're like, oh crap!
Yeah,
we need to re-up that subscription.
Yeah, it's like every few days, one of our AR software programs is like, you owe us another $100. We probably spend like $1,000 a month or so on AI generations. If you think about it, with all of the the captions, the design, the Grok,
Right.
all the different AI software
it's
programs.
several
we make.
hundred, that's
It's
for
expensive.
sure.
Oh yeah, it's all
Yeah.
of that. If it's not 1,000, it's just shy of $1,000 a month just to pay for all the AI bills. So, but we wouldn't be able to make all this fun content. You wouldn't be able to watch the mini documentaries, for example. You could not produce a mini documentary that fast in like 24-hour periods that we have to do it when we unlock the bonus content. So thank you guys for making it happen, because it's just so much more fun. See all the beautiful new graphics that we have, for example, this outline that you're looking at. That's another example of something that we use AI. Yesterday, I was teaching the AI course, and I was actually teaching people how to make these kinds of graphics if you wanted to have your own show and podcast. And that's another benefit of something that we do, is we actually do teach people how to use AI. So if you didn't know, we actually do have a course. It's a weekly course as well as an online course with stuff, with classes that we've already taught. So you can go back in the archive and see the courses that we have on some of the software that we use. But if you had no idea and you're interested in learning how to use AI the same way that we do, if you go to forlibertyshop.com, head over to the front page, you can see how we build our daily content machine using AI. You can use my exact same system and join the class over there at forlibertyshop.com. And we'd love to have you join us. Stephanie also is really excited about some of the newest products.
Oh, can you just type in K-cups in the search there too?
Yes, I will. But just I was just going to show your beautiful new towel real quick before
Thank
we.
you.
Gorgeous.
Crossing the Delaware.
Yeah, the Liberty 250 Crossing the Delaware towel, available at forlibertyshop.com. You also made this beautiful Liberty 250 embroidered polo, which Gannon got this morning. What's up, Gannon? So Stephanie has also been embarking on a project for us to rebrand our coffee. Not rebrand entirely, but just to streamline the branding.
Make it more organized, more recognizable. Kind of like Starbucks, right? Whenever you're at the store, when you see a Starbucks box of coffee. So it's like we want to have that brand recognition immediately when you see our stuff.
Yep. So Stephanie's been doing that for our founding flavors. All of the K-cups have been fixed. Just cleaning it up, making it easier to read, a little bit prettier.
Easier, simpler descriptions that you can follow.
Yep. Knox's Continental Kick, which is my favorite of all our K-cups, the light roast. Absolutely delicious. So check, if you are a K-cup drinker, you got the Keurigs, then you can get our upgraded Keurigs. It's the same coffee, same delicious coffee, available at forlibertyshop.com. So make sure you check that out. Mason's Morning Brew, very nice. George Mason. That was George Washington's hunting buddy. Check that out over at forlibertyshop.com.
Oh, and then there's also Knox.
We just showed Knox.
Knox, Mason, and Rutledge.
Knox, Mason. Let's go to page 2, see if we can find Rutledge real quick. I didn't see Rutledge.
Just type in K-cup. Or Rutledge.
Rutledge. We need to get him in here. Rutledge's Resolve. Very pretty, Stephanie. There you go. So if you guys like K-cups, if you love coffee, head up over to forlibertyshop.com. That's the number 4, libertyshop.com. Check out all of our delicious brews. The number 1 best-selling product of all time at the Griff Shop is our Jeffersonian Java. And it's easy to understand why. If you haven't tasted it, guys, you're really missing out. The Jeffersonian Java has so many 5-star reviews. I can't even count them. Let's see if we can see. There we go. Look at all this. Cecilia, 5 stars. Kyle, 5 stars. Ethan, 4 stars. Timothy, 5 stars. Andy, 5 stars. People freaking love this coffee. This review is awesome. I'm an everyday coffee drinker. This coffee from AP Liberty made me feel as American as rooftop Koreans with M14s defending their property in LA. Austin brands are legit. Jeffersonian Java, the number 1 seller at forlibertyshop.com. And of course, we are able to use AI to make incredible commercials like the ones that you see on this show. So head on over to forlibertyshop.com, make a purchase during the live show. And if we hit $150 raised, right now we're at $110. If we raise 40 more bucks, which, that's like another couple boxes of coffee, then we will play the Great Grift off and somebody's going to win a nice prize from the shop. Cool.
Nice.
Shameless plug? Oh, no, it's not shameless. Trust me, Byron, I'm full of shame. I'm deeply, deeply ashamed. There's a professor at Western Michigan University. He teaches medical ethics, Stephanie. His name is Parker Crutchfield. And in 2019, he published a paper arguing that the entire world population should be secretly drugged to make people more moral without their knowledge or consent. Nobody fired him. And then in 2025, he co-authored a paper arguing that society has a moral duty to deliberately spread a tick-borne disease that makes you permanently allergic to red meat, alpha-gal.
Wow.
He called it a thought experiment, and today we have some thoughts of our own. So we know people with alpha-gal. It's pretty common here in the Ozarks. It's not a virus. So the Lone Star tick injects a carbohydrate molecule into your blood, and your immune system flags it. And from that point forward, your body treats red meat like a threat. And the reactions can run from things like hives to full anaphylactic shock. And some people have died. The CDC estimates already that 450,000 Americans already have this, and there is no cure. The paper that this guy wrote about why we should do this to society is titled Beneficial Blood Sucking. So it appeared in July of 2025. And the argument is, if eating meat is wrong, spreading the disease that stops you from eating it is morally obligatory. He says that this was just a simple thought exercise. But frankly, I think we need to find this guy, and we need to attach an anchor to his ankles and take him out in the middle of the night and drop him on the middle of the ocean. What do you say?
No,
that's just a thought. It's just a thought experiment. What would happen if you took him out? There we go. This is how we make it a thought experiment. What if we took him out into the middle of the ocean at night and we tied an anchor to his leg? What would happen if you dropped him into the middle of the ocean with an anchor tied around his leg, right? I'm just thinking out loud here. Theoretically.
These are certainly ideas that I've struggled with myself. I was a vegetarian for 10 years. So I thought eating meat was immoral myself. I still struggle with the morality of killing animals. You know, it's like, sure, we also discuss, like, humans are above animals. I know that logically, but when you see an animal in pain and you see an animal unhappy, there's something that really tugs at the heartstrings. And so for me, I really struggle with that. And that's why I didn't eat meat for so long.
Okay, well, you can struggle with that, but my question to you is that would you, because you believe that it is immoral to kill animals and to eat them, or you believed that, how would you then go from that belief to the belief that we should infect everyone with a disease that makes it impossible for them to eat meat?
I'm trying to think of like an equivalent to this that has been done in society about like canceling out another evil. Is it moral to get rid of something immoral through an immoral method? You know, like can you use a method to like try to get rid of immoral practices?
Well, what confuses me about like scientists
is it really wrong? Well, if ultimately the behavior that you're trying to get rid of is immoral.
Yeah,
right? It's like throwing out communists from a helicopter. Sure, that could be seen as an immoral act. But are communists immoral?
Well, here's what I don't understand about scientists. So these scientists, like, they're probably atheists, right? They don't believe in God. So for them, like, first of all, why do they, where are they getting their concept of morality in the first place? What is like their driving ethos? What is it that they truly believe in that gives them this idea that eating meat is immoral? Like, who says it's immoral?
Well, science. I used to study this all the time. Can animals feel pain? Can animals feel distress when they're being killed?
But what is immoral about pain? There's nothing immoral about pain.
Well, that's the argument we give for abortion.
Pain is just a response, right? Pain is just pain and fear. Well, what would make you think that they're moral? As a matter of fact, pain can be quite moral when it's used to do something like build your muscles or undertake run a marathon or childbirth. Like, that pain isn't immoral.
Yeah, but that's voluntary pain.
But
involuntary pain is different.
But here's the thing: what about the fact that animals eat one another? Is it immoral for animals to eat one another?
No.
Why?
Because they really have no sense of morality.
Well, they have no, what gives you the idea? Well, but here's the thing, but we are animals too.
Yeah, but we have a sense of morality. We're able to think.
Okay, so animals are capable of thinking.
Yeah, but they don't have the capacity to really make informed decisions.
Why not? Well, there are lots of animals that are smart enough to be able to make informed decisions. There are like whales, certain types of whales, dolphins, certain types of dogs, pigs, for example, are smart enough to make certain types of informed decisions.
But I don't know if they're like contemplating, God and the universe when they're making these decisions. So I'm not so sure.
Here's my point: is that if scientists are correct that there is no God, that if their atheism is proven correct, then there is no moral center to the world, to at least to the extent that they believe it. Now, I know that there's lots of atheist, libertarian, Ayn Rand types and stuff, and she's come up with a construct of morality that is outside of God. But we're gonna put that aside for just a moment. Let's just say that the scientists believe that there is no God, right? So how are they constructing their view of morality? And why would it be when a hawk eats a mouse? It's just acting out its nature.
Mm-hmm.
That's what its nature is. It's designed to eat other animals.
Right.
Humans are the same way. If we're animals, at least according to the scientific consensus of the atheist scientists, humans are just animals too. We're designed to predate. We're designed to eat other animals.
Mm-hmm.
Our bodies have adapted to eating meat. So why would we be any different from animals in these scientists' mind? Their
but we don't
philosophy
have
doesn't
to eat
make any
meat.
sense.
We don't have to.
Yes, you do if you want to be a fully formed and developed human. Yeah. Yes, you do. Your brain.
You can get protein in other ways.
Not really. Not really.
In this modern society, you certainly can.
You won't be an intelligent human. Your brain won't develop.
Well, I was very smart as a vegetarian.
No, you weren't. You were a vegetarian.
Nowadays, luckily, we do have vitamins, especially vegans. Vegans have to take certain vitamins because they really are deficient in things. But we have those luxuries. We can take vitamins. We can take protein powder.
No. If you do not eat cooked meat in the early childhood and development the development of your brain will never develop as much as someone who eats cooked meat.
Do you have facts about that?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. Cooked meat is crucial to, and the proteins that you get from animal meat is crucial to the development of the brain and to the development of the body. There's a reason why when you look at the relative size of North Koreans to South Koreans, the South Koreans are an inch taller, and it's because of the nutrition that South Korea engages in. It's not because they're eating.
It's all about nutrition.
It's not just soybeans and rice. They're also eating more meat. It is meat that has contributed to it is specifically cooked meat that has developed the human brain.
So,
look it up.
I did. AI says a vegan child's brain can develop as well as a meat eater's child, but it requires meticulous planning and consistent supplementation.
Yeah.
So yes, because of modern technology, we can exist and be just as fine without meat. We can.
But it's not going to happen. They're not going to do it. You'd have to. It's like a percentage of a percentage of a percentage. But if you just round it to the nearest integer, it's going to be zero. You're just not going to. If you are a vegan or a vegetarian child because your parents forced you to do that, you are going to more than likely stunt the development and reduce the IQ of the child. So we are engineered to eat meat, and you will never achieve the potential of an actual human being without getting the proper nutrition in meat in childhood.
You need nutrition, yes, but it does not have to be in meat.
Yes, it does. It has to be specifically in cooked meat. And if you are not eating cooked meat, then you will never develop the same kinds of brain tissue and body mass that someone who doesn't eat meat, who is a vegan or vegetarian, will have. So you're sacrificing a part of your humanity, which is to be a carnivore and to eat cooked meat. So if you look it up, the history of The reason why the human brain expanded so quickly, specifically, is because humans cooked and ate meat. And through the process, whatever the chemical process that meat undergoes, like the Maillard effect or what have you, of cooked meat, it specifically accelerates brain growth, and bigger brains, higher IQ, smarter humans. So
Right. I agree with that like millions of years ago because we didn't have like vitamins and all the supplements that we have today. But today, we don't have to do it.
Vegan is just not healthy, says Amy J. Easley. Health does not equal supplements. Vegetarians can be okay, but vegans not. So
Yeah, I was a vegetarian. I was not a vegan. I did have vegan friends, and they did have to take extra vitamins to help them.
So what if a tick bites you? Beneficial blood sucking was the name of the paper. It appeared in the Journal of Bioethics in July of 2025. So the guy's argument is, if eating meat is wrong, which it's not, spreading the disease that stops you from eating it is morally obligatory. And of course, this guy calls this a thought experiment. But
It could be like the same thing as abortion, right? If abortion is wrong, spreading something that stops abortion is obligatory. Would you agree with that? Even if that's forcing people to have a child that they don't want.
Not enough information to make
You know, like I'm just trying to find like parallels, I guess, you know, to compare like moral issues so people can kind of see this argument here.
So the Lone Star tick is spreading all across the U.S. It used to be it was in the Southeast, but it's now been confirmed in New England, and it's pushing west. I saw one on the karate mat the other day, which was bizarre.
I know, and I've got, well, I think chiggers have gotten me. I've got bites all over.
Yeah.
They like to get you in your like underwear line area.
Yeah. Yeah, 2 deaths have been confirmed from alpha-gal, including a New Jersey pilot who ate barbecue after a tick bite and never made it home.
Oh my gosh.
Mosquitoes are the deadliest animal in human history. They kill between 750,000 and 1 million people per year. Malaria alone killed 597,000 people in 2023. Sharks kill fewer than 10 people a year, just for comparison.
Yeah.
So we've spent more time debating whether to spread insect-borne diseases on purpose than we have debating whether to eliminate the insects. So the science to eradicate disease-carrying mosquitoes exists. CRISPR-based gene drives have achieved total population collapse in laboratory settings within 7 to 11 generations. Most ecologists who debate the question of whether or not we should eliminate these parasites entirely, cause them to go extinct, they all agree that the ecosystem impact of the loss of mosquitoes would not be catastrophic. So the barrier to us defeating our parasites is not science, it's just political will. The question of whether or not we should eliminate mosquitoes and eliminate parasites, parasites like ticks, is on the table. And I'd like to see you in the comment section. Should we do it?
I mean, there's just something very unnatural about it. I'm sure we've been doing these kinds of things before. I mean, have we extincted something on purpose before?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think we have like Tasmanian devil, and we've hunted certain species to extinction.
Yeah, I mean, I know we like hunt the deer population to try to drive it down, but obviously we're not trying to bring it to extinction.
Here's a video about gene drives. This is a minute and a half. It explains the process. If you were to vote today, would you vote to eliminate the mosquitoes?
Gosh, I don't know. My gut feeling is saying no.
Why?
I just really would need to research to see how it would impact everything. Like if mosquitoes really have like a true purpose in this world, other than to just bite people.
But I mean, they kill millions of people.
Right.
What do they contribute? Let's ask Grok.
Yeah.
What are the pros and cons of causing the mosquito population to go extinct? Let's see what Elon Musk's AI says on this one. To the morality, Arvold says, I stepped away. Did we just go from the morality of eating meat to the morality of genociding ticks? That's wild. Yes. So, pros of eliminating mosquitoes. Mosquitoes are the deadliest animals on Earth. through malaria, dengue, Zika, yellow fever, chikungunya, and West Nile virus. Eradicating key species could save millions of lives over time and reduce massive economic burdens from healthcare and lost productivity. Yeah, but those are all lives lost in Africa. So I think Republicans are going to be like, might leave them there.
And now vaccines exist. So it's like really a lot of those diseases, if you have the vaccine, they really don't have an impact anymore. Like malaria.
So minimal, irreplaceable ecological roles for disease vectors. So many experts argue that ecosystems would adapt. Predators could switch to other insects like moths or flies, and pollination gaps would be filled by other species. Some studies of intensive control show little lasting impact on food webs or plant reproduction. In some regions, mosquitoes limit human development or agriculture in sensitive developments, so their reduction could allow better land use, meaning you could actually go into the jungles in certain areas and not be eaten alive by the mosquitoes. I wonder, have you ever wondered how many mosquitoes would it take for you to actually be completely sucked dry?
Oh, God. I just,
Can you imagine?
I just can't get over the itching.
Has anyone ever died from blood loss,
like a mosquito nest
from
or something?
mosquito bites? Let's see. This will be an interesting one. So the cons is, while we're waiting for that to process, the cons are, possible ecological disruption to food webs. Mosquito larvae are a major source of food for fish, frogs, and dragonflies. Pollination loss. Male mosquitoes feed on nectar and pollinate various plants. Nutrient cycling and water quality. Larvae help filter organic matter and recycle nutrients in aquatic environments. Removing even replaceable species can have unforeseen effects, especially because we don't fully understand all mosquito roles. Ecosystems might hiccup and adapt, but specialists could suffer. Invasive species might fill voids in worse ways. Indiscriminate eradication raises biodiversity ethics questions. Most mosquitoes are harmless to humans and ecologically useful. So there's the thing.
Yeah, that's where I feel a little conflicted about that because it's like playing God. There's a reason why they're on this earth.
Well, don't make it sound too cool, but
yeah, I'm reading if we've ever extincted something before. The screwworm fly. In 1972, the U.S. and Mexico successfully eradicated the screwworm, a livestock pest.
I don't think so. I think it's back. I don't think we extincted that.
Well, they sterilized millions of male flies with radiation and released them into the wild so females couldn't reproduce. So that's what happened then. And then the Falkland Islands wolf, the only native land mammal of the Falkland Islands, was a dangerous pest to sheep. And so they extincted those in 1876.
Mosquitoes kill thousands of people, likely through disease transitions. There are no documented cases of a human dying from blood loss called exsanguination caused by mosquito bites. A single mosquito bite takes only a small amount of blood, blah, blah, blah. I think Brad did the numbers on how many mosquitoes it would actually take. He says it would take roughly 400,000 mosquitoes. A human has about 5 liters of blood, losing around 40%. About 2 liters can be fatal. So a mosquito takes roughly 0.005 milliliters of blood per bite. So it would take, so Nelson says it would take 4 hours and 400,000 mosquitoes to get 2 liters of your blood. So, wow. God, can you imagine? That would be an excellent way to torture this scientist and kill him. In theory. So let's just have a thought experiment.
I just love how, gosh, when we don't know something, we attack somebody for trying to speak some sort of truth that they believe, is real. But it's like maybe years down the road, we're going to find out that animals really do have more intelligence than we thought, or animals really do feel more pain than we thought. We may find that animals really don't deserve how we treat them. What happens then?
This is just a thought experiment, but maybe we've allowed too many people to allow their opinions and out. Maybe we need to just go back to the law of the jungle and just take this scientist. This is just a thought experiment, but what do you think would happen? I mean, let's just hypothesize. What would happen if we took this scientist and buried him up to his hips in rocks, and then what would happen from a physics perspective? I mean, if we did the math, if you took rocks and just, in a parabolic fashion, just threw those rocks toward his head. This is just a thought experiment, but do you think that?
So
I mean,
let's
let's run the thought experiment here, because what if? No, just thinking, if it's immoral for him to push this scientific paper to infect people with a meat-eating disease, if it's immoral for him to do that, then wouldn't it be immoral for us not to bury him up to his hips in rocks and then in a parabolic form throw them at it, just to continue that thought experiment?
I just think, people throw stones at the first person who tries to speak some truth. It also goes back to like the circumcision debate. We won't go down that rabbit hole, but it's like the first person who says, oh, I don't agree with circumcision. It's painful. It's traumatizing. People throw stones, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like we sometimes need to be a little bit more open-minded of, maybe there is a little something more here.
This is crazy. Listen to this. So in the late 1960s, Army-funded researchers released over 150,000 radioactively labeled Lone Star ticks across Virginia field sites to study how fast they spread. So the government has released some of these ticks into the environment on purpose.
Oh, I know they have. I had them all over my body years ago.
And they were government ticks.
I literally stepped into a nest of ticks while looking at a property up north in Michigan. Yeah. And when I got back to the realtor office, my God, those ticks were all over my body. I was taking them off one by one, throwing them in the toilet.
That's a really terrible way to...
All in my bra, my underwear, everywhere.
This is a really terrible way to describe SNAP recipients.
Yeah. So, am I familiar with ticks? Yes. Yes. I too can help you get them off your body.
Now, Amy J. Easley says she brought up the Tuskegee experiments were immoral, same as this thought experiment.
There you go.
Well, the thing about the Tuskegee experiments is that's an interesting little conspiracy that people like to talk about. One of the thing about the Tuskegee experiments is that everybody gets wrong, or the conspiracy theorists always get wrong, is that the conspiracy theorists accuse the government of infecting them with, I believe it's syphilis.
Syphilis, yeah.
But that is not true from what I can remember. Let's check the grok on this one. But the conspiracy theorists say that the government like infected them with the disease, but that's not true. They contracted syphilis, and the government did what is required when you do a scientific observation, which is that you have to have a control group. So the black airmen were the control group, meaning that they thought that they were getting a treatment for syphilis, but really they were getting a placebo.
Right.
But that's how scientific experiments work.
Yes, the men in the syphilitic group already had syphilis when they were enrolled.
Mm-hmm. But if you watch like a Candace Owens documentary or like an Alex Jones documentary, they're gonna be like, they infected them with syphilis. That's always the way it goes with the conspiracy theories, is that they take a grain of truth and then they spread lies around it in order to smear the government, which, we don't love the government, but I do love facts and the truth. So,
well, participants were not told they had syphilis, apparently. They were deceived and told they were being treated for bad blood.
Right.
In reality, they received no effective treatment for syphilis. So that's where the unethical part comes in.
Well, when you say, so Amy's like, wasn't treatment withheld? Well, yeah, because they were given a placebo. In order to determine whether or not whatever treatment, and you know this, Amy, whatever treatment that they want to give them, in order to determine whether or not the treatment is actually effective, you have to account for whether or not the placebo effect is if it's as high as a placebo or more effective than a placebo. If it's more effective than a placebo, then you have an effective cure. If it's as effective as a placebo or somehow less, then you don't have an effective treatment. So this is, I'm always fascinated with conspiracy theories. Like, I love them, but I also hate them because they're always, surrounded with so much bullshit. So it's kind of like the Gulf of Tonkin. I got schooled back in the day on the Gulf of Tonkin incident because I bought into like the Lulbertard conspiratard view that, LBJ lied to get us into the Vietnam War about the Gulf of Tonkin. Well, that's not exactly true, because the Gulf of Tonkin was actually two incidents. One that did occur. We did get our boats attacked. And then there was a second incident that did not occur. It was just a false report. And people like Alex Jones and, the conspiracy community are like, oh, it was a false flag. Well, no, it wasn't a false flag. It was two separate incidents, and one that was an actual legitimate attack by Vietnamese PT boats on an American ship. And then the second one was a false report of a boat. But LBJ did use that as an excuse to say, let's do a troop surge. But that wasn't the reason for the war in Vietnam. The war in Vietnam had started back in Eisenhower day. So if you go to the Vietnam Memorial Wall, the first casualty in Vietnam was not in 1967 or 8 or whatever it was when when the Gulf of Tonkin happened and LBJ occurred. I'm fascinated with conspiracy theories because there's like, it's an army of bullshit surrounding like a kernel of truth. Mm-hmm. And I always want to try and find out the truth. And the Tuskegee experiment is like one of those like bullshit, like conspiracy theory things.
I don't know. I mean, they still did deceive these people, and those people were not voluntarily, in the study, knowing that they
you don't get to
had
choose.
Syphilis.
You don't get to choose. You're in the military. Your body belongs to the government. There's this like the people who are like, oh, you didn't even get to choose. You're in the government. Like, you sign up for that. Okay.
Right. So maybe on the paper it should say like you may need to be in experiments, no matter what your diagnosis is. Maybe they need to have some print there that they have to sign off on. I don't know if it's in the paperwork for the military. Maybe it is.
Yeah.
But it better be. But I just think we need to realize that, like, a long time ago, we thought certain things were true. We thought certain things were right. We thought black people should be slaves. We thought mentally ill people should be hurt and sent to insane asylums and shocked and, given all kinds of torture. But, through technology and education, we've learned that, like, that's not the best. So maybe, like, we do need to, again, just keep our mind open that maybe we're going to find out more about the world than we know now.
Oh, sure.
And our truths are not going to be so true anymore.
Oh, for sure. For sure. First Class Scout says Tuskegee experiments were horrific and went on for years. There was no informed consent. It was wholly deception. Okay. Well, there's no informed consent to the trial itself. But I mean, the government, why is it horrific? I mean, the government didn't give these people syphilis, right? They selected people who had syphilis for these experiments. And am I wrong to think that, like, when you sign up for the military, you're literally signing up to, like, give your body up to be, like, exploded in the desert into a million pieces? Like, you sign up for that.
Yeah, but you're not signing up to be betrayed.
Well, how are you being betrayed?
Science experiment.
Don't have sex with hookers without a condom. Like, what are you doing? What are you talking about?
It would be like if you,
at some point, it's like
signed up for the military, and then Hitler was standing there, and he's like, "I'm going to do experiments on you now."
Do people not know when they sign up for the military? Like, you're signing up to be gassed. You're signing up to be beaten. You're signing up to be killed. And it's, as long as it's voluntary, because if you're being drafted, now that's a separate question. And during World War II, people were drafted. So was it draftees? That's another question. Were the Tuskegee guys? I would think that if you were in a Tuskegee Airman, that would have been a volunteer position, because that would have been like a cut above. So, correct me if I'm wrong. Totally willing to change my mind if so.
Right.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Byron it was Norris, all impoverished African American men, so it's like,
well, so fucking what? Like, I'm tired of like them being held above us, like they're all like gods.
But sometimes people purposely choose certain groups of people because they're really trying to hurt those people.
And sometimes they don't, and there's lies and bullshit that the left tells you so that it can fit their woke advanced narrative. I just... Sorry.
Well, racism existed more back then. But they did to black
people.
Sure.
Okay, well, what if they did it to white people? Oh, no, the poor black people. No. Like, at some point, like, black people have to, like, come down to earth, and, like, if you want equality, then, so you can't just be floating above us.
Well,
they did it to women and children and
blacks.
They
just keep being betrayed over and over again.
What's wrong with whites and males?
How would you feel if, as a white person, you were constantly, like, misled, lied to, abused, told you can't go to this drinking fountain, like, within the past 100 years.
That is not the same thing. That is forced integration. And a lot of those fountains that they were talking about were on private property, which is, You may not like it, but some people have a choice about whether or not they want people on their property based on whatever reasons that they want.
Well, yeah, I believe in private property.
It's legal to be racist.
Rights.
It's
Yeah,
legal to
I
be
believe
racist.
in that.
It should be legal to be racist. It's not
Yeah.
legal to be racist.
I
but
know.
it
Yeah,
should be legal
you
to be
can't refuse to make a cake for someone who's black.
Yes.
I know that.
Yes.
But I think if you can refuse to make a cake for someone who's gay, you can refuse to make a cake for someone who's black. I think that's,
Exactly. It should-
discrimination is the same thing.
Bigotry should be legal in the United
Yeah,
States.
but again,
That's what,
I won't come to your cake shop.
Well, and here's the thing: the United Kingdom, they have made bigotry illegal in the United Kingdom, and you see exactly what that leads to. Henry Nowak being cuffed, murdered by this Digwalk character in the UK because he was called racist, and the cops, are telling him that, Joe, I don't think you've been stabbed, mate, on all that. So that's what happens when you try and make bigotry legal. Is bigotry ugly? Sure. But what's uglier? What's happened to the UK right now? Am I right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'd rather live in a racist country than a country that outlawed bigotry. How's that? Does that piss you off? Well, I don't care. I want to live in a country. I prefer dangerous liberty, and I'd like to know what people actually believe. Like, if somebody hates me because I'm a white boy, I want to know. I want to know. And all you do when you outlaw bigotry is you drive it underground, and then people are bigoted in different ways. So
No, for
just
sure.
my view. So it's 8:52. It's time for us to start winding things down.
Did we get to all our topics?
Let's see. Take a look. Let's see. We didn't. There was this other topic that was about that went viral.
Oh, about the lady who got raped.
Well, it was this viral post, how your girlfriend looks at you when you ask her to block the guy who raped her in 2019. So,
And I didn't get it. When you first showed me,
I know.
I was like, what is this supposed to mean? Why? Then I was like, oh, yeah, like a lot of women,
yeah, women don't want to hear this, but like most of us men, we all know a woman who has said like that some guy raped her. And, as soon as a woman says that, you instantly have to be like, because
Right.
you have to believe all women.
Right.
But then the joke here, or at least like the thing that started all this conversation, is that if you tell her to block him on socials, then they don't like that. They don't want you.
Then you're considered controlling.
Well,
right?
it's not that you're considered controlling. It's that we're not stupid, that men aren't stupid. So when you watch
Oh my God, look at this thing. A rape survivor and the man who raped her have teamed up to tell their story.
Exactly.
And look at that. The man who raped her is like this like good looking, Jesus-like man. I bet that was just like a drunken night where she like was totally out of it.
Women are such beautiful creatures, but it's a shame that they aren't moral or good people.
Oh my goodness. Rape comes in all forms. It's like, I think when I think of rape, I think of like, complete force, like, like very brutal and violent. But a lot of women nowadays, their rape stories are,
read those headlines, Stephanie.
not very violent.
Read those headlines out loud, really. Yep, will you please?
I cheated on my boyfriend with my rapist.
Yeah.
By seducing my assaulter, I was reclaiming the control I'd lost over my body and identity. Okay, I could see retaliation there. I could see that. I dated my rapist, consenting in hindsight why I continued to sleep with my rapist.
We talk about rape. We talk about race.
Oh
we
my
talk about
goodness.
conspiracy theories. This show is like banned from
there is
every.
something called Stockholm syndrome where you still can have a love for somebody who's abused you.
No,
So it makes sense.
I mean, I know that a majority of women have been diagnosed, liberal women specifically, with mental illness, which means that about 50% of you are walking around undiagnosed. But I'm sorry, but you don't get like rights and have these opinions. You don't get to say
And
rape and have these kinds of opinions and then go and do a TED talk with your rapist and team up with your rapist. Like either you were raped or you weren't raped.
Can I just tie this all back together with that abortion
Go
couple?
ahead, Stephanie, and we'll take it out.
The
on
one
this
thing that cannot be tested.
What a topic to end on.
In chromosomal tests and whatnot is you can't test if your child's going to have autism. You can't test if your child's going to have a mental health disorder. If your child's going to have an addiction. So it's like a lot of those things are very terrible too, and you can't test any of those things. So. Some people, they're still going to have kids that are going to mess with their life, no matter if they know it or not.
Yeah. I've probably said enough to like end any potential career that I probably wouldn't have anyway. So that's enough for today. See us tonight, 8:30 p.m. Justin will be joining us. So I expect to see Camellia, Amy J. Easley, Byron Norris, Eric Wilson live, Drew Van Runkle on the Freedom Arcade tonight at 8:30 p.m. Central. So make sure that you guys come back and join us for our exclusive members-only content. So if you enjoyed this show tonight, it's only going to get more fun. The Freedom Arcade is our way to hang out. It's kind of our fan service where we all play games together. Last week, I think we played Uno. Next week, we're going to be out because we're going to visit the
not
in-laws.
all next week. You can
Part of
decide
next week,
how
the end
many-
of next week. So,
Yeah.
so if you want to see us and play the Freedom Arcade tonight, then tonight's your best chance to do so. So 8:30 p.m. Central, right where you're watching us right now at rumble.com/AP for Liberty. As we exit, Stephanie, where do we exit?
The Griff Shop for libertyshop.com. Check out our new K-Cup redesigns. They're very beautiful. Make great gifts. Also check out our 250th anniversary merch. And be free.
And we'll see you tonight, 8:30 p.m. on the Wake Up America show's Freedom Arcade, and that's on the 4 Liberty Network. Bye, guys.
In the winter of 1747, somewhere in Massachusetts, a boy was born into bondage who would one day stand on a hilltop in Charlestown and change the course of American history. His name was Salem Poor. He grew up enslaved on a farm in Andover, Massachusetts. But Salem was no ordinary man. Strong, intelligent, and fiercely determined, he worked, saved what little he could, and in 1769, at the age of 22, he bought his own freedom. He paid for it with his own hands and sweat. Now, a free black man in a land still ruled by British tyranny, Salem Poor chose to stand with the Patriots when the shooting started in 1775. By June, the British had occupied Boston. The American militia had them surrounded. On the night of June 16th, Salem Poor and hundreds of other men quietly climbed Breed's Hill in Charlestown under cover of darkness. They dug frantically through the night, building a crude earthen redoubt while British warships watched from the harbor. Dawn broke on June 17th, 1775. The British were coming, 2,200 elite redcoats in perfect formation, bayonets gleaming in the morning sun. 3 times they marched up that steep, bloody hill. 3 times the Americans held their fire until the last possible moment. Salem Poor was in the thick of it. As the third and final British assault crashed forward, the air filled with smoke and the roar of muskets. British officers in bright scarlet uniforms shouted orders, waving their swords. Salem Poor crouched behind the hastily built wall, his long musket steady. He waited, he aimed, and when the moment came, he fired. One shot rang out from Salem's rifle. A British lieutenant colonel, James Abercrombie, second in command of the British forces, staggered and fell dead on the slope. Salem Poor had just dropped one of the highest-ranking officers on the field. All around him the battle raged. Men screamed, cannonballs tore through the air. The British finally overran the hill, but not before suffering over 1,000 casualties, nearly half their attacking force. The Americans had been driven back, but they had proven they could stand against the best troops in the world. 14 American officers, some of them slave owners, were so impressed by what they saw that they signed a remarkable petition. It read in part, "We beg leave to recommend to your favorable notice Salem Poor, who behaved like an experienced officer as well as an excellent soldier. In the person of this Negro centers a brave and gallant soldier." This was almost unheard of. White officers publicly praising the extraordinary bravery of a black soldier in 1775. Salem Poor's courage at Bunker Hill was officially recognized. But he wasn't done. Salem continued fighting for the rest of the war. He served at the Siege of Boston, fought at White Plains, Saratoga, and endured the brutal winter at Valley Forge. He stood in the lines at Monmouth in the scorching heat. He was with the army that trapped Cornwallis at Yorktown in 1781, watching the final British surrender that secured American independence. Through 8 long years of war, Salem Poor carried a musket for a country that still did not fully recognize him as equal. He fought not just for freedom from Britain, but for the hope that someday his people might share in that freedom. After the war, life was hard. Like many black veterans, Salem struggled for recognition and fair treatment. He married twice, had children, and lived out his final years in poverty. He died around 1802, his exact grave now lost to history. Yet his legacy endures. Salem Poor was not a general, he was not a famous statesman. He was a former slave who bought his own freedom and then risked that hard-won freedom on the bloody slopes of Breed's Hill. When the redcoats charged with bayonets fixed and victory seemed certain, Salem Poor stood tall, took careful aim, and helped turn the British assault into a slaughter. He proved on that hot June day in 1775 that courage has no color and that liberty is worth fighting for, even when the nation you fight for has not yet fully extended that liberty to you. From the smoke-filled heights of Bunker Hill to the final triumph at Yorktown, Salem Poor fought with honor, skill, and unbreakable resolve. His story reminds us that the American Revolution was carried forward not only by famous names, but by ordinary men of extraordinary courage. Salem Poor, the hero of Bunker Hill, and one of the first true patriots to shed blood for American independence.